Last week I did a video, kind of a fast one, on how to make a basic cloth and paper lined junk journal. Isn't that great? This time I'm going to show and I did some sewing on it. This time I'm going to do a no sew, kind of like a junk, like really what you have around. And we're going to use some acrylic gesso, or or we could use some Mod Podge. We're going to collage on this Amazon envelope here, and we're not going to sew it, we're going to just use glue. And I pulled some pages out of a Life magazine, and I've got some music paper, some vellum paper, some homemade paper, some collage suit pages that I've downloaded off their website, a sheet from a mat, and one piece of scrapbooking page. And I'm gonna be cutting images from this book and from this book here to make this, or this really turn into something like this, but in collage form. As if for a junk journal, use what you have at home. I've glued the opening closed. This is going to wind up getting covered by collage as well, so it doesn't need to be absolutely perfect. But now I'm going to create just kind of a spine, and I just put my finger on the inside and kind of start creasing and seeing, like, I don't know if the edges fold over right. So I'm just bending it a little. So, but we want to kind of get the idea of where is this bend going to be. We don't want it to be precious either, so just bending it as you go. Now that we've got all of our exterior collage images, and again, I want this to be a little basic on the outside, we're going to give it a dry because it is filled with Mod Podge. Now that we've got the first layer of our collage going, you can see the Mod Podge is dried pretty clear. We haven't done the inside of our Amazon envelope. But, at this point, you could stop and leave it like this, or you could add some more element, like so. And I would recommend, if you're going to do that, to use a waterproof ink, because this will make this ink change. It will react like it's water. So if you're going to do this and use Mod Podge after, make sure that you're using a waterproof ink with that. Or you could make your cover a little bit more dynamic and say that was your background, and then add something else, which is what I am going to do. This is from the Collage Soups Spring Forward book, so I'm going to use some Mod Podge and get that down. So I'm just putting a little on the back. I know I say a little, it kind of looks like a lot. I say a little. I do feel like I use quite a bit. Oh, don't tear your paper. It's okay to have multiple layers of Mod Podge. It's okay to have multiple layers of elements in your collage as well. Just go right over. That'll seal it too. This is going to last for years. I mean, you'll fill it first. You could make it a recyclable one, but this one's not going to be that way. My other one is. Or you could change out the innards. This one will be permanent. Okay, so we're going to hit that with the heat gun, dry it. Now we've got the front done. I'm going to probably do a little bit more on there, but right now I'm going to leave this be. This is the back, and then I'm going to do the inside. I'm going to do it a little bit different than I did the outside. I also wanted to mention that you can just use regular acrylic paints instead of this on the outside as your base, or instead of using any of that, you could finger paint it how I do. I love to do that. You could do this, where I downloaded these free off the Collage Soup website a couple months ago, so I'm just putting it in here. So I'm just going to do a whole sheet almost in here. Let's see what we can do. Cut this down to size. And then what I just did was trim these down a little bit more to size and cut off a little bit from him. So what I'm going to do is Mod Podge this piece of music sheet here, and then I'm going to Mod Podge him over here. I might cut a little bit more to add some dimension, and then that's going to be the inside of our book. And next we'll poke holes and get our pages in and be finished. Now that we've Mod Podged the inside, let's give it a good dry. At this point, we're gonna set this aside and let it dry. While I was drying it with my air dryer, I let it fold because I was getting the outside, and I pulled some of the image off. So I'm gonna let this set and dry more and work on the internal pages, okay? You can just take and get a rough measurement of what you want your pages to be inside. I'm going to cut my pages smaller and shorter. You can let them hang out, or you can, I think if you try to make it perfect to the edge, there's always an issue. So I try to make mine shorter so I don't have that issue. And then sometimes I'll let a music page or a map page hang out. I've taken the one piece of cardstock scrapbook paper that I'm going to use and made a little bit of a template. I've made it, like I said, too short in both directions. So now I can use that as a template to cut my other pages, make some of them longer, maybe make some of them shorter. I've cut some papers down to size to use as the pages in my junk journal. I didn't use every page that I pulled because I don't want it to be too thick. I think this is going to be good enough, or just perfect rather. That's enough pages. So I'm going to get to poking some holes in here. So I've got my pages in approximately where I want them, and I'm holding it with clips. If you were going to do one of those really precious journals, you would clip this a lot better. But again, this is legit a junk journal made from an Amazon packaging. So I've undercut them, made them shorter, not so big. So having them a little crooked inside is actually perfect for the style that I'm trying to accomplish. A little bit of grungy, messy. So I'm just poking the holes through. Got this little binding kit a while back. Who knows what the prices are now, but I paid $9 for it. And I could just poke holes. So I've just poked 3 holes. And again, you could be all precious and measure all this and make it perfect. That is not what I'm doing. I've got some wax covered binding thread. You could probably use any kind of thick twine, not sewing thread though. So you can just also pick up this needle at a craft store. It's just a dull, large needle. I threaded it. I'm going to go into my center hole first. And I went the wrong way. I want to go in this way. I'll leave that piece hanging out in the middle. And then let's go into the top hole. Whoops. Sometimes your papers will go askew. Find them. There we go. Pull that through. That was a great blooper where I pulled that tail all the way through. So I redid that. So I saw that tail hanging out here. And let's not pull it so hard that we pull that tail through. Still leave that hanging out. And now we're going through the last hole here. Where is it at? It'll be interesting finding it. So we've pulled it through the holes. And now we're just gonna tie this off in the center here. This is a little long. Chop that off. Tie this up. I don't know why I was going to try to tie a bow, because a bow is not what we want. And I'm just going to put a couple knots in it. Cut off the excess. Take those off. And you can trim up this excess here, any excess that you see, or any loose edges, you trim and Mod Podge over any part that's coming up. But now you've got a junk journal with just papers that you have probably already at home, magazines, newspapers, music paper. And you could continue to do more if you want. You could even go in and add more flavor to it if you wanted to. So you don't have to keep it that way. I hope you like this tutorial and you decide to make you a junky junk journal out of an Amazon envelope. Thanks for watching.